Hey guys, it's me. Man, it feels like video 7 was so long ago. I was talking about procrastination like 10 seconds ago. Anyways, what shall we talk about? Quiet nights and quiet storms. Quiet nights on my guitar. I feel like I'm not centered. Book review. Okay. Yeah. Ooh, I wish I could put these somewhere, but I ain't doing a lot. Man, you gotta see them. That's like the 101 of video making. Whatever. So, these are the books we're going to be going over. Let's start off with the most boring one. Economics. Elementary statistics. I bought this from a Goodwill. It's set exactly like a Saxon math book. Is it Saxon? I think so. I thought it would be interesting. I read like the first couple pages. I rate it 3 out of 10. Actually, I think this is a good. We'll go biggest to smallest. I think that's a good. Next up, we have this journal that it's in my bookshelf, so I'm going to count it. It has 110 pages, and I wrote some stuff in it. I'll read it to you. We imitate the close, the many, the powerful. Smell the air and feel its colors. I thought of that one. The one before was from Atomic Habits. Next one is do not think less of yourself, but of yourself less. Ooh. I don't know where that's from. Next one is calmness can lay great offenses at rest. Might be from the Bible, not too sure. I gave this book 8 out of 10. Not much to judge. It's also very nicely made. I hope it's focusing. Yeah. Next up we have The Vagrant by Peter Newman. I've read this much. And for a couple months I had read this much, nothing, and it's just been sitting there. My good friend Samson Azarov, shout out to him. Feels like I'm married to him, I talk about him so much. Anyways, he gave it to me. And one day I was lacking D&D inspiration. I was just feeling, I was under crunch to perform, plan campaign, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read this. So I laid in bed, read about 20 pages or so. It's pretty good. Sam talked very highly about it. From what I've read, I haven't read the good parts yet. He even said that the first book isn't that good, I believe. I think he said the second book was even better. But I haven't gotten to the climax or anything. But from what I've read, 7. It's alright. Next up we have Against All Opposition by... what's his name? Greg Bahansen. I've read that too much. I've been working on it. I got it before we went to Ukraine, so 2021, I believe. It's defending the Christian worldview, aka apologetics. Pretty useful. It's pretty philosophical. What did you thought? It's pretty difficult. It's a pretty hard book. I had to reread some things like 10 times. There's some pretty good points. This was the first apologetics work I've read. I'm in 78 pages, and some pretty good stuff. Good logic, good things. A big thing has been not letting people with opposing worldviews, which tend to be secular, don't let them use their own presuppositions. Don't let them assume their own presuppositions in a argument and then deny your presuppositions or the ability to use those presuppositions. Like, for example, they are assuming that certain things are true. And you can't really prove those truths, but they're assuming them. But whenever you, a believer, try to prove things by assuming other things, they don't let you do that because it's against the norm. So you can point that out, and if they are logical, they will agree on that. Another point I remember is that... Oh, I just forgot it. I was just thinking about it. Gives you a good definition of faith. I mean, it is mostly, again, opposing. Well, no, it is defending. It's not opposing. Oh, that's what it was. You can use the Bible as a just base. You can base things off it. It takes work to explain why, but if there would be an authority, everything gets value from its authority. If a paper was written by a random homeless guy, it doesn't really have as much weight. But if it's written by an esteemed professor, it definitely has a lot more weight, a lot more authority. So the Bible, for example, has people assume it needs to be proved by something, by a greater authority, which Christians believe is by God. But since they don't believe in God, they want another authority. But you can't. If you would have an authority higher than God to prove His authority, then God wouldn't be God. So he argues that point as well. I'm only about a third or fourth way through, so I'm kind of excited to read it. It's not that exciting, but it is useful knowledge, I would say. So I'm going to give it a excitement, a 5 out of 10. Usefulness, 7 out of 10. It's not... Sorry. I still got Chosen by God by R.C. Sproul. Oh my goodness, this book is good. Holy. I've been collecting books to read on my phone. And just whenever I hear someone recommend something, I put it in there. And I thought, okay, this is a good one. I chose it because of the title. No. I chose it because I was thinking, I need a good base for defending predestination. And that's pretty much the main drive of the book. But then I bought it on Monday, and then during the week, I was like, man, it doesn't really matter. I should be, studying other things. And I'm like, dang, why did I buy that book? Kind of sucks. I'm not going to read it. Whatever. I'll just read it, in a couple of years. But then as I got it, I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. I'll read it. I read on the back. Okay. I read the intro. And then as I'm walking from the mailbox to the house, I'm just turning. Oh, also, Michael, you're probably watching this. But it says baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, Chevrolet. Those are all things American to your football. Michael will understand. Anyways, and I read like 30 pages in a day. Not that impressive, but just at breakfast. And it's far more than just predestination. It is just things that will be useful for any Christian, just knowledge, determined, coming from logical understandings. Not like, in this verse it says this, but that some points are based off of that, but it's oh my goodness, 8 at least, 9 very easily, like 9 point something. His writing style isn't too, R.C. Sproul's writing style is not too complicated, like he, as I think would be an issue with Greg Bahnsen in the previous book. Maybe Greg assumes things too quickly and just moves on, but R.C. Sproul just lays things out systematically, just explaining things. So for me, a lot easier to understand than Bahnsen. Yeah, very good. If I know, even I'm not sure about predestination. It says predestination and free will. It's not predestination versus free will. Every Christian, which is a point in the book, but every Christian believes in some degree of predestination. Because if you don't believe that God is in control of things, you're not a Christian. And God controlling things, it is a level of predestination. And then Him being in control of your salvation, of everyone's salvation, is a higher degree of predestination. So all Christians believe in a degree, in some predestination. It just matters how far you go, which is a point he makes in the book. So even if you're not, looking, even if you're not for this point of view, I would definitely recommend it. You'll definitely find something useful in there. And it's pretty small. I think it's, 140 pages, 150. Pretty easy. Big text too, so recommend. Next we got Everything's an Argument. This is a textbook. I need to read this on Sunday. Ouch! 30 pages in. Yeah, this actually, I haven't read this. It's my textbook for my argumentation class. Paid $50 to rent it for a semester. What the flip? Next up we got, what's the title? New Essays in Philosophical Theology. And look at the cover. And look at what I drew a couple days ago. Hopefully it focuses. But yeah. This book, preface. I was scouring through the Sierra College library when I was waiting for my mom. And I was looking through the religion section, looking for books. Found another one that I have on this pile. But I'm just reading through things, and I see, philosophical theology. And I've already looked through 10 books so far. I'm like, kind of interesting. And then I get into... basically this book is just a compilation of 12 sermons given by different dudes a while ago. And this is by J.J.C. Smart. And it's a sermon on the existence of God. Good stuff. It's a bit harder, and even the language, it is a bit older. But he gives different points on the cosmological argument, which I've just kind of recently found out about. He gives different versions of it, actually, which I'd never heard of. But, explaining the mathematical side of it, of the I believe that, is that it? No, he's just explaining arguments for God, and then he goes over different ones. I haven't actually read it a lot, because I hadn't been reading this week, but... yeah, I think I'll get to some other ones. What else do we have in here? Can God's existence be disproved? Metaphysics and theology. Can religion be discussed? A religion way of knowing. Theology and falsification. Creation. Paradox. The perfect good. Miracles, visions, death. Yeah, so I think it'll be good. It's due on Valentine's Day, though. I also got Mere Christianity. Classic. It's not doing so good. Yeah, I could show this. Checked it out. But yeah, this is a classic book. Oh my goodness, that's some pretty small writing. I really want to finish this before I have to give it in, because I was really considering buying this. It's a really good book, just giving you the basics of Christianity and reasons for believing them. And basics that even Catholics agree on, so just pure basics. But then C.S. Lewis goes over just explaining everything in a really good way. I listened to the first couple chapters, I think. Yeah, I think I really enjoyed it. Finally, we got More Than a Carpenter by Josh McDowell. I talked about this in the podcast. Oh, how close am I? I'm like 10 pages away from finishing it. I also bought this at Goodwill. I saw it and I'm like, oh my goodness, I've heard about this book. I should get it. So yeah, it's 11 whole chapters of giving more historical, not really philosophical, arguments for Jesus. Was he a real guy? Was he the Son of God? Did he die on the cross? I don't know. Let's look at the proof. So Josh McDowell gets a lot of good points, good evidence. Not good points. Here's evidence, and he uses logic in certain things, like chapter 2. Lord, lunatic, or liar? Which one was Jesus? He can only be those three. Yeah, he also has this, which I thought was funny. Will the real Messiah please stand up? This was written like when was this? 1980. Oh wait, that's the Bible that it was based on. I thought that was funny. But yeah, would I recommend it? I've had it for such a long time that this happens a lot that I think, oh, everyone kind of knows that knowledge. This is common knowledge. But then I remember, oh no, I read this in this book. So, like the Lord, Liar, or Lunatic, I think I've heard that. Oh, it's also in Mere Christianity, that point. But these other things I would have to, it goes, who would you die? Who would die for a lie? Would the apostles really die for Christ if they were lying? Are the biblical records reliable? He says there's so much more evidence for Jesus, like 2,000 or something accounts for Jesus, and there's like 4 or a couple for just these, like Napoleon, or some people. Don't call me on that, but yeah, come in.
Are you done yet?
No.
You recording?
Yeah.
And you're not done editing?
You're gonna be able to play for 2 minutes until I have to take it back. So yeah, it's what, 120 pages. Pretty small book. You could definitely finish it in a week, and that's light reading. So it's not as good, I would say, as Mere Christianity or Chosen by God. But I couldn't just be really understating the knowledge in here. I don't know. Some points I think there are some. You can doubt everything. You can doubt everything. So whenever I'm reading, I'm like, oh, okay, I can see how someone could reject this. Which, yeah, someone could reject anything, or be skeptical. But it's like that with any book. Sorry, my point is, you should read it, because it's better to read it than not to read it. But you could say it with any book almost. I'm thinking really a 5 out of 10, because like the beginning, I think I was really interested, but I kind of had to force myself to read through. So excitement, this is a big thing. Like, how excited am I to read it? How interesting is it? It wasn't that interesting. And I find a lot of the book just saying, this guy who's a 2 professors at Oxford, Gilbert West and Lord Lionel, were determined. Okay, but there. That happens, I don't know, 40, 30 times, where he says, this guy who is at this position of this place, and because it's an esteemed place, said this, and you should take it because they're in an esteemed place. Which, I don't know. I guess I prefer more philosophical arguments, because they're not based on, I don't know. I guess this is good historical, which I guess I'm just not really into. So, More Than a Carpenter, 6 out of 10. Anyways, that has been my book collection for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm getting tired, so book review. I hope you guys have a good day or night. Remember to glorify God. You're healthy. Dude, your limbs aren't falling apart. Oh my goodness. You don't have leprosy. Oh, I don't have leprosy. Praise God. You don't have leprosy. You don't have leprosy. I don't have leprosy. Have a good day. Love you. Bye.